Good afternoon, Planet Earth. Hi, welcome. Turning out to be a really nice afternoon here at Thornybush, and the sun is coming out, burnt away some of the cloud. Welcome to Wild Earth and welcome to our drive. My name is Mark, and we're going to go and find some things. Something with four legs, something with two, something with wings, something with petals, something with leaves. Find something. Some thing in nature. First we will investigate a leopard, or an appearance of a leopard, or where he went, without any sort of actually finding him. We don't want to find him. That would ruin the afternoon. I want to find his track. Oh, sorry. That's loud. And, well, there we go. There's leopard. Oh, suddenly it was windy. I said it was getting better, the weather, and now it's getting really windy all of a sudden. Hello, Marla. All tucked in the thick bush. Surrounded by quarry that breaks the wind. But it must make quite a noise this time of the year. Hides not only the sound but also the scent of the predator. Let's see if we go forward a little bit. Might be able to get something there. Beautiful. With the ram. Coming across frame as well is a ram. Not him. Yeah, he's nodding his head. He's a 2-year-old. See how his horns are starting to curve forward. Almost 2. So what we're seeing now also is the first of the breakdown of the bachelor herds and the male-dominated harem. They're all pregnant, so now it doesn't really matter. He's hiding, big ram. Another little ram, newborn, just walked past. Newborn from summer, so 6 months old. You can see the difference in the size of the horns. We've had questions where people want to know if you can age them by the size of their horns or the length, shape. And yes, with these kind of animals you can. Not when it's teeth and they tusks. Shall we move on? Because they've all managed to hide themselves behind this leaf and this branch, this tree. That's the sun, gone behind the clouds. I suspect this little boy came down the fence line and went back up something like Strichnoff or something. We'll see if we came across this way. I'm going to skip that whole bit there. I'm going to go towards the river lodge. It's 4th of July, so it's the Day of America today. It was Canada Day the other day. Now it's America's Day. I think we've had our day, 27th of April. Same to say I don't know many other countries' birthdays. Do you know any other countries' birthdays? Frame nicely too. I don't know how that would work in 3D, but it might. Oh, it is a bit while it's behind the cloud. But that's quite a nice frame shot though. And he's a beautiful giraffe. Anything in your way? No, but through the gap. Can't you get him through the gap? So it's not. It is dark now because of the sun. And he's got his black cloth. If we go into the riverbed, it's really into the sun. Oh, we get down there, the other side of the river, we can go this way. There's another giraffe across the river. Well, he'll be better. He's going to be in the open going up that road towards Alberta Fan. Might be a nice silhouette. Oh, it's really blown up. Close the iris up a lot just to get it like in the silhouette. Nice shot because he's up on the bank. Well, floodplain. It used to be the width of the riverbed. And then rainfall got less and less, and so the river flowed less and less, so it has dug out that little deeper channel where we come into the river, and then the rest of the river is all filled up with reeds. Every time it does come down, they catch more sediment and they get bigger. And even the flood last year didn't clean it up too much. There he is, walking down the road. Walk on by. What's that song? When I see you walking down the street, just walk on by. When you see me, not when I see you. I see you, old man giraffe. This is another old male. Two old bulls. See, they are actually together, but they're not together. He's standing down there, crazed and confused in the riverbed, and he's on a mission. He's missing all these trees to go to one special tree that he wants to get to. Or it could be the pan. Maybe he thinks there's still water there. But there's water in the riverbed. That's actually an animal path that he's on, that goes to Almeida Pan, I think. Tailing a giraffe at the moment. What's called a loose tail. Pretending we're not looking at it. Now he stopped. He stopped to see what we were going to do. Pardon? Definitely heading towards the pan, but there's not very much there. See if he comes back to the road. On an animal path. Now he's going to come up here. Walk across. I'll be the pan. Certainly on a mission. Probably cross I'll be the pan and go to that other little water hole that's still got a little bit of muddiness. But first, he'll stop and he'll browse, because he doesn't want to just walk into the open. So he's just going to browse while his senses pick up any danger perhaps. And then, oh, he's a lovely old male, very dark. But I wouldn't call it melanism. There was that photo on the Juma page about a big dark giraffe that was at Juma. And like this old man, he's one of those dark-haired giraffe that tend to darken with age. He's a really old man. Cut back GoPro. Look at him. His skin is really old man, late 20s, perhaps. Who knows? Possible to tell. Looking at Japan, the water that was here, he licked it. He's walking around the edge of where the water would be. Let's move forward a bit. And he's looking at a little bit of mud. And he wouldn't really have had to walk far, but now he's touched down. He's looking. Certainly, he looks straight at the water. Around now. This is just a little bit of mud, not even water to drink. He's lived here all his life. He knows where every drop of water is in dry season. So it's not like he can't find water. He knows exactly where everything is. He'll probably go through to that other little pan at the back. He's looking at some more mud wallows there. And now he's looking through towards where some of the water still is. Looking at the water, or rather the mud. A little bit of water there. Quite an effort to get to it. That was just to smell it. When in doubt, eat. Yes, Becky, a question. Yeah. Oh, hello, Joan. Nice to hear from you. Altamonte. Excuse me, radio. Turn it down. Altamonte in Florida. Joan wanting to know if giraffes are ever aggressive towards humans, and I would have said no until somebody sent me a clip of a giraffe that I didn't get to watch it because most of the time we can't download that kind of thing yet. But personally, I've never experienced it. There's a buffalo. Go away, bird, shouting. I guess that little boy leopard. Oi. Okay, he's going through to the water. We need to go around. That was the one. Go away, bird is shouting why the giraffe is ignoring. Well, not that the giraffe is ignoring the threat, and there's no consequence to the giraffe. Whatever the go away bird is go-waying about, so the really bother the giraffe. He's an old man. He's seen everything. He's done everything. He's had his fair share of... This is this old bull buffalo. So maybe we'll leave him be because he's lying down and the giraffe is going to drink. If we stop for the buffalo, we miss the giraffe drinking. So, old man, use that big bull that's got his dewlap that hangs down. Another one at the back. A really old buffalo. He's also been there, done it, seen it. Hello, old boy. Come and talk to you now. Got to talk to Mr. Giraffe. There was a case in a zoo of a giraffe. In fact, it's in London, or not too sure which zoo, or a safari park, something in the UK, where get that little bird with adult. He approaches the water now. We can film him, but let me just move to see him better. Yes, Laszlo. Let's see him from behind. No, not just a second. I'm kind of busy with something at the moment. Sorry, Mr. Sorry, no. While we with this magnificent giraffe, doesn't make sense. Sorry, old man. Okay, we'll guard you. We'll watch you. What's very interesting is that he has a darker area of his body. So he is on that end of the spectrum that probably borders on melanism. Only we can still see a lot of the light marking. So he's sort of always nervous and that he can't get a foothold. He's got polished hooves. I don't know how close you can get, but it'd be nice if you can get some sort of really close on the hooves and the bottom of the legs, end of the tail. Nice to have him drinking, but if he's standing up straight, try and see a bit more of his body. He's been waiting a long time to have a giraffe standing on open soil like this and allow us to get this close. And he's preoccupied with drinking, he's looking around for danger, he's looking towards the buffalo now. Tell me if you focus on any of the leg parts. Like the front legs now. Okay, so his front shoulder is a huge shoulder blade, and then that is his forearm that goes backwards towards his back legs, and then that is his forearm to what look like front knees. That's his forearm, and what look like his front knees, those are actually his wrists. So he is, here comes a big Nyala bull as well. Giraffes here, so it must be safe because giraffes can see things. This was once a dam by the looks of things. And to explain, which I'm sure I don't know, have we had that thing on camera? Caught the drum. Well, it's there. Just film the Nyala. I'm going to see it. Nyala's right there. But yes, something, maybe as a project, we at Wild Earth will come and remove that drum for Steve, or whoever owns that property. If we can, if it's not filled with sediment, which it probably is. Drag it out of there with a Land Rover. By hook or by crook, I'll remove it for these children. The reason why it is there, and judging by what is attached to it, is once upon a time there must have been this must have been a decent water hole, and perhaps when they were building the camp or when they needed water because they didn't have a borehole, maybe it was in the days before boreholes, when pipes would have been put onto that drum. The drum would have acted as a filter. There might be something in there that acts as a filter, like sand, and they would have pumped water out. I doubt whether it could have been too much of a filter to stop water flow, but certainly it would have, if it was standing up straight, there's a big breather pipe on it, it would have been able to remain relatively sediment free, and even if it was water for building or gardens. Oops, he slipped. Don't put your foot in the water, boy, you should know that. Play. Yeah, so he's bending on his wrist now and his tip toes. It's only 2 toes, his middle 2 fingers. What supports the entire front of that massive giraffe that probably weighs over a ton. His ears are about half the size of a normal giraffe's ears because they've probably just worn away over time. Wouldn't be surprised if he's an old man. Wow. I'm sure the sun might have had a lot, or some part to play in that. Especially because of the pale skin on the ears, so his skin is exposed. The southern sun is harsh. He's got kind of Brad Pitt mandibles. Humans get on his head. Like some of this, and who else is there? There's the Kennedys all had those really strong jaws. Okay, Nyala bulls are quite big, by the way, and that Nyala bull is in the distance, listening to me talk. That Nyala bull is quite far in the distance. He is quite big, not as big as a kudu. His horns would he would probably be able to walk underneath the giraffe, but hold his horns back over his shoulders. He'd easily fit under this giraffe. I'd probably be able to walk under him and not touch his tummy. Although with certain apparatuses there, it'd be hard to miss with my hand. I've only ever known giraffe to be very, very passive, incredibly docile, gentle, graceful. The question once about giraffe feeding on corn trees as well. So we're going to be asking and answering a few questions this afternoon that we can record and we can use in our series as sort of part and parcel of it. And some of you sent in some really good questions. So some of those we've set aside over the next few drives we'll be asking and answering. And anyway, maybe you might have missed your questions, but the chance to have it answered again. And I think there was one or two that we had planned about giraffe that we can work on today. Wow. Okay. Probably not going to let us watch him feed now. Unless he comes out at the albedos, that must be nice. Here's Flesler. Go ahead. Ah, yeah. But wait, we just need to have, okay. Let me just get to the giraffe again. We're going to be able to. Well, yes, that's what I've been asking for the last 10 minutes. Find it. It was quite a wet area. I'm going to try and get through it. Yeah, okay. Copy that. if we're going to be able to get to him. So there we go. Yeah, we will when we're ready. Pardon? Yeah. I was trying to see if we can at least get him in shot. If not, we're just going to wait here for him, because he might come out into this clearing, because he's just up ahead of us. And oh, hang on, here he comes now. The sun is going to be hot, so essentially we want to have this running as well. We'll keep an eye on him, pardon. Yes. And record. Yeah. Okay. So this is just a part and parcel of the thing, but when we haven't been able to really record answers, and we want to include that in our series, so we're going to do that now. And we're hoping he's going to come out. Otherwise we're going to have to go and look for him. But he's feeding just above my hat, perhaps. I don't know. It's a little bit bright there. But there have been questions about giraffes, and so we're going to, it's not like reenacting, it's just re-answering a question. So, thought you were ready and waiting for me. Fine. Find out where he's going before we move, if we move. So I was talking about the melanism and that, and or maybe that's what the question is going to be asked. I'm waiting for a giraffe question that I'm going to answer, and we're going to. And now we're going to have a problem because there's a vehicle driving here. Go ahead, Becky. Watching something. Yes, Becky, what's the question? Go ahead, Becky, what's the question? Tora. So remember, Tora's in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I was looking at that lens, needs a brush. Tora wants to know what the purpose of a giraffe's horns are. Well, first to classify, they aren't really horns. Although we call them horns, they're merely sort of calcium protuberances that we call ossicones. They're the same makeup as horns that antelope have, but instead of having that horny covering, they're covered with hair. And we were looking at him, and you can see how bald his horns are and how tight the skin is, and it's almost worn in places. That's probably from fighting. Ultimately, that's what keeps giraffes with horns. Is they do use them as a weapon, and they use them for sparring. Not in the same way as antelopes do, not in the sense of locking heads and locking horns, but certainly in the sense that they swing their heads and punch each other with them, and that's why they lose the tuft of hair that we see on the females. Female horns are becoming vestigial. I think in 2,000 years, giraffe females might not even have horns because there's no need for them anymore. They don't really need to defend themselves with them. They use their feet. They can defend with their kick. Probably more effective than their horns. In fact, their horns are probably used for maybe discipline and A little bit of domineering when they're in a female group, pushing each other and shoving. This giraffe is now looking back towards the river. He's hearing something, but there's a herd of impala coming into this clearing. I'm going to try and get to the other side, to the western side of all of this, and see if we can see those impala. Unless he's looking at that other giraffe. That other giraffe might have eventually come out of the riverbed and headed this way. Okay, let's switch off that. Stop there. Behind the thorns. Beautiful tree. Impala going out into the other open area that we're going to graze. This usual path. If we're going to get let's see him now. He is feeding. It'd be nice to be with him while he's feeding. Hey, Becky. That's a very interesting question, actually. Oh, I think the tire was good enough for that. It was the stick that broke, not the tire. Okay, that price that sounded rather dire. The head of the stick. Unfortunately, grassland. But Deer wants to know about whether they ever get joint problems. Here we go. I finally caught up with him. He's not really going into the open there. He's chewing the cud. Wondering what on earth we're doing. What's all the fuss about? Fuss is about you, old man. We're talking about you. Do you have any joint problems that hinder you when you bend down? You seem to be very nervous on your fingers there, bending down in front, quavering a bit. That probably tends to come from joint problems. Yes, I'm sure they do. I've seen giraffe skeletons where there's been excessive calcium build-up from injuries over time on bones, and I've seen, in particular, on more than many occasions, after a lion has killed a giraffe, how they have fused vertebrae in the neck because of an injury, probably from sparring at some point in the lives, dislocated vertebra perhaps, or an injured vertebra. We have seen him before. I recognize there's a big scar on the left side of his nose. I've probably got a photograph of him somewhere. But I do recognize him now. He's got that huge scar on his nose. I'm going to try and go back just a few inches. Yeah, a little bit. And then you've got a clear shot. Okay, so now if we needed to record something with the GoPro, we'd actually have the giraffe in the shot. But if you look at his horns, you'll see how worn they are, how worn and how much skin is missing. Okay, it's too high behind the tree. I'll just make the down tree. I can deal with it. He's a really proud animal, this is. I've never been able to watch a giraffe all its life, so I've only ever had to go by the age of the giraffe as to what they say in the books and maybe what has happened in zoos, which is a false idea of age, because in the wild, tooth wear and things is completely different to what happens in the zoo or in artificial circumstances, where they may be feeding on lusher vegetation when they shouldn't, in an environment that they don't really belong in, like in a safari park overseas. But in this environment where they have to eat through the thorns and the branchlets and the abrasive quality of some of these leaves that they feed on, not to mention they do eat some fruits, they don't have much on their upper jaw other than their molars. Of course, they've got incisors on the lower jaw. There's no incisors, no canines. It's just a very broad palate with a very, very thick lip and a very, very thorn-resistant palate with a thorn-resistant tongue. And he's able to, you can see him now on that thorn tree, curl his tongue around those thorn branches and strip them off. Or rather strip the leaves off. It's very discreet. We'll just push through the bushes and leave some fertilizer for the tree we've been feeding on. Down, breathe a little bit. Maybe go see those buffalo. Leave him be. Go off. Okay, copy. I don't know if there's a buffalo question. I'm nearly ready for a buff. So what you are witnessing is this is filming a live 3D safari. This is what we are doing right now. Although we've been doing the live drives all along. It's very seldom that we've actually been able to do some real live 3D stuff. This is what we're doing right now. So this is myself, a really big old bull. It's nice to get in a position where we can see him nicely with all our cameras. He's magnificent, massive. He's hopefully not going to bother. He's beautiful. There's an old pump house. Hopefully you can see this pump house through this camera. Hope not. Yeah. You get that from there. Well, folks, this is probably one of the oldest buffalo. Today must be a day for old men like me. Grumpy old men like the giraffe and the buffalo and me. Holding his head a little bit low. He's just relaxed. And there's another one lying behind the old pump house. There's an old pump house here. It's not great for photographs of the wildlife area, but I do know that the landowner who's bought this land is making headway in cleaning up a lot of old faults of the past. This is probably the pump house that was used for pumping water from these two pans. A big star, and he's put his head down. Today is a day of old boys. The old boys club today, and we're back. Oh, we lost you. You lost us. We haven't moved. You have. The wind blew, and we had to recycle the enclosure back at home, back at base. So with a huge sigh, he put his head down, and he's probably gone to sleep. Which is what most animals are doing. He's now pretending to be a rock. Most animals do this when they're tired of the wind and the cold air, and they just want spring and summer to come back. I'm included in that statement. I'm one of those animals. That giraffe is probably one of the oldest giraffe we will meet, and this is probably one of the oldest buffalo we will meet. Remarkably, he's kept his horns really nice and sharp, I suppose. Feet of its own. Some buffalo wear their horns really rounded. And if he were to get up, we would see his spine. His chest is just off the ground, and his dewlap is down to his chest. And I'm exaggerating a little bit. He's lost most of his hair on his back. Yes, I'm ready, Becky. Ready when you are. What's the question? Becky, what's the question? Hope it's a buffalo question. Sitting with the sleeping buffalo. She's tongue-tied, Becky. I know it's Vivian in Chicago. Hi, Vivian. Okay, this is take two. Go ahead, Becky. Vivian in Chicago. Hi, Vivian. Nice questions from you, actually, and one I'm not even sure about. I'm gonna wing it on this one. Vivian wants to know if buffalo are born with one set of teeth, or are they born with baby teeth like us, and their teeth are replaced with adult teeth. As far as I know, it's only really the carnivores, and with regard to the herbivores, and I'm sure there are a lot of horse people out there, and I'm sure there might even be some people who are familiar with cows, cattle, and sheep, goats. As far as I'm aware, the teeth that come out, they have the number of teeth as their baby teeth, but they have more teeth as adults. But they don't lose their teeth and have teeth replaced, because being a herbivore means they've got to eat all the time. And to my knowledge, to my understanding, when they're weaned, they've got to start feeding, so they can't really afford to have a tooth fall out and then a new one grow underneath. So all it really is the original baby teeth that mature, and then as they grow old and as the jaw grows bigger, so more teeth are set in the jaw, more molars at the back are set in the jaw, like we get our wisdom teeth eventually. Though there's certain things we're not supposed to eat when we're babies that wisdom teeth are needed for when we're adults. But they have these an eruption of more teeth at the back of the jaw as the jaw gets bigger, and that allows them to crush more grass or leaves or whatever it may be. So being a bovid, being one of the herbivores, that's my interpretation of how they work. I have to read up and I have to find out if I'm wrong, and whether they actually do have baby teeth that they lose and then get adult teeth. It doesn't make sense to me, because once they're weaned, they have to feed on whatever vegetate, whether it's a grazer feeding on grass or whether it's a browser feeding on leaves. They have to constantly be feeding. They have to constantly be processing food and chewing it and breaking it down, especially being a bovid, one who's ruminating all the time. So chewing is a very, very important aspect of getting nutrients out of plant material. And so I would imagine that the teeth that they're born with are the teeth that just merely get stronger and bigger as they grow with their jaw, and that more teeth are set in the jaw from the back as they become adults. Please correct me if I'm wrong. What did you think? Okay. Leadwood against a dark sky. with a bourbean in the background. Look at that green. We're in the middle of winter. Look at this green. Two colors of green against that dark. And in the meantime, look at him. He's like leaned over, lying on one horn, face to the sun. This is Africa. This is heaven. Look at the size of that horn though. Wow. I'd go and put my hand there to give you a size scale, but unfortunately I'm too chicken. So you can see a lot of the bald patches on his body. I mean, he does have some mud on him, but what we're looking at are bald patches. Over time, they lose their hair. Like me, while I wear hats, you can't see where I've got my typical male pattern baldness, receding hairline. That's why I wear it long at the back, to pretend I've still got a lot. It makes up for what I've lost on top. But particularly the area around the joint of the hind leg and where his thigh is, and where his shoulder is, behind his shoulder, because those are areas where ticks develop over time. Those are areas where they have the most irritation, and you find them rubbing and scratching and irritating that area of their bodies more. So calluses develop and they lose their hair there first. A lot of the pale patches we see on buffalo are merely just areas where they've lost their hair or the fur. I can't really call it fur. I mean, fur implies soft. Buffalo, there's probably very little soft about this old man. Other one's getting up. Might wake this one up a little. It's nice that he's here. I don't know if they'll come out. We can maybe wait a little while. But to be able to, if we can, compare these two boys. Because that is a big bull, that one at the back. It's behind the old pump house. He was just... I'm sure buffalo get a little bit arthritic too. He needed to just turn over. Such a mission for a big old bull to turn over. He found a nice little spot. I suppose also we're very lucky. We are allowed to sit here. I'm allowed to talk to you this volume, and I put him to sleep. I've just realized that. It suddenly dawned on me that if I'm ever in danger from a buffalo when I'm out on foot, I just have to start talking and I'll put him to sleep. Okay, let's move on. We've got to go find something else. Got to go find where this cat went. Doesn't look like he came down here. If he did, there'd be too many here. Well, man. See you later. Pity we couldn't see him standing up so full that you couldn't see his full size. And we will now catch up with what's going on in the rest of the world. Woke up, I guess, when we left. Too busy seeing where I was going. I see the general area, and now it sounds like the guys are tracking them again. Sure. Okay, then. Okay, we'll try that one. Let's get sunlight, and then I'll turn around so we're not looking into the sun with the camera, and we will go back to sort of going back a few weeks maybe when we first saw that young male lion roaring on his own, and it becomes part of the story for the 3D series. So we're going to take a question now. So let's get up this road. Over the erosion. I'm hoping we can get to see this young man live. This is, I suppose, in a way, reenacting. So I'm thinking back to when we found that young male lion, part of the Black Dam tribe. I know, I'm also facing the right way here, but I can't turn yet. Okay, we're going to just get everything set up for the right angle. Maybe the sun will pop out. We need the sun to sleep. Because light is a little bit flat now, it's a bit grey. I need to check something. I've heard a real bad pop. I think that might be okay to use that sort of angle. The sun comes out. And this gives light. Level the camera. I'm going to check the tire. That pop didn't sound good earlier. So I suppose. Oh, that's the same sound. Oh, we might wait all day for that sun to come out. Okay, so just to reiterate for those of you who might be a little bit confused with what we're doing right now, is while we really are looking for lion, and I'm waiting to hear about lion, I'm going to sort of incorporate let me try that again. I'm going to incorporate a question that was asked on Live Drive a while ago when we first found that young male lion. So please don't be confused if you don't know what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about a few weeks ago. So we're going to reenact asking a question, and I'm going to explain why I'm standing outside the vehicle when I'm looking for lion. And how's sound? Does it sound good? I don't know. Aaron, what mic are we supposed to be doing? What mic are we supposed to be on? Aaron, what mic are we supposed to be on? Okay. Go ahead, Becky. Andy in South Carolina. Hi, Andy. Wanting to know why this young male lion's by himself. Well, we're trying to find him again. We're standing here. We're hoping to hear him because he's been calling quite a bit. And we can only really speculate why he's on his own. He's reaching an age where first of all, he's most likely to be spending more time on his own because he's maturing, but also we don't really know that he's on his own. He might just be apart from the pride for a day or two. And it's one of those times that we're actually going to have to follow him and we're going to have to keep up with him to be able to tell what's going on. It's interesting. He's a very big young male lion. He's big for his age. He's just about 3 years old and he's wearing a mane of about a 4-year-old. And so he's definitely comes from a good gene pool. And my guess is that there could be a couple of factors. There's a big male from up north that comes down, not his father, but there's a big male that comes down from the north and has been visiting with his sister and his mother. His sisters, he's got 2 sisters and he's got a mother. They're the Black Dam Pride. And when that big male comes down from the north, he tends to move down here away from that big male. I suppose he doesn't want to incur the wrath of that male. He is a little bit too old for that male to kill just for the sake of killing cubs so that he can fire his own. The reason why he would have a fight with this young male is for territory. And this young male probably still wanting to be with the pride, but his instinct is telling him to head out and become his own entity. The calling that we're hearing, all of this noise that he's making, constantly calling, part of it is yes to maybe call the pride and to get an answer from the pride, and maybe, I'll say maybe, mother's not answering because there's a big male up there. Maybe she knows he's calling for another reason. Maybe he's calling because he's trying to contact maybe any other nomadic sub-adults that might be moving around. This is what sub-adults do. This is how prides can be formed and new prides can forge their way into existing territories. Youngsters that are forced to leave their father's territories that might form a coalition, and doesn't necessarily always mean males. Obviously the females are not going to form a coalition, but they will become the females of the core of a new pride. Invariably pride territories and prides are taken over by the female's offspring. So where you have an alpha female amongst the lioness, it's her offspring that continually become the core of the pride in the area. The males are the ones that change all the time. So everybody thinks it's the king of beasts and his territory. It might well be, but the essence of it all is that the females control the pride. They're the ones that raise the offspring, hunt and provide, and they are the ones whose offspring become the core of the pride when they move on. The males change all the time. So while the males are vital in terms of maintaining that territory and maintaining the integrity of the pride and the gene pool, there is still a fair amount of control by the females. Why he's on his own? Because he can't be part of that. He cannot, as a young male with the same gene pool as almost all the females that are within that pride, he cannot be here anymore. So it's his time to move on, and this might be something that we're witnessing right now. It might be a very, very special moment in his life. So now we're going to carry on. We're going to go look for him and see whether we can find him. A bit cold, a bit windy. We'll see what we can find. Always managed to catch my earphone wire in the door. No wonder it gave out on me this morning. Cold days. This is normally what happens in August. Windy, cold, overcast. We've got something mean while we're recording these things that we're ignoring your questions, everyone. The 4th of July and Independence Day for North America. Although I know other countries, there's a lot of other countries, and I hope you don't think that we forget you too. Hopefully New Zealand with us, hopefully Australia is with us, and Austria and Germany, you all know who you are, and Holland, the Netherlands. I never know what is politically, well not, but I never know which is better, Marja or Christian or Suzanne, any one of you in Holland. What's the best way? Is it to say that Stephen Pete Ross? Is it best to say just the Netherlands? Anyway, countries all over the world. Joy of being with us on safari is being able to talk to all of you. So we're still getting questions from you. I'm hoping to still chat to all of you. If you have any questions, drive questions at wildest.tv. And oh, digger, you're squeaking in again, child. Let's see what Nielesi Road is off on this afternoon. Nothing. I reckon that's a leopard when I got him on the river. Sorry, go again? Coffee, thanks. Okay, time to do another question for the cameras. And we're facing the sun again. Let's turn down Mangawan Road. See if there's any tracks coming up there. Okay, get that going. And yours going. See if we have any leopard track down here. Oh, the wind. It is. Go. Go. Unbelievable. Again. Ah. Go ahead, Becky. Just looking for tracks again. This young male leopard did come up here somewhere, but I'm not sure where. It wasn't on this road. Go ahead, Becky. Question from Jan. And where did Jan come from? Michigan. Oh. Makes me ashamed to say it gets cold here. But Jan in Michigan was saying, how do you identify individual leopards? And of course I'm looking for leopard tracks, so I'm actually thinking about how to tell individual leopards from tracks. But that gets a little bit more complicated. It's a lot easier to tell the difference between different leopards. Mostly because leopard have very specific territories, and before you even get to learn their spot patterns, you have to see them. So first of all, before you even get to know the individuals, you have to get to know the different territories. And you are only ever likely to see the same leopard within a specific territory. So most often when you find tracks and you find a leopard, you can almost assume it's the particular leopard that lives in the territory that you found it within. Because one of the first things you learn about a leopard, based on finding its tracks after even just 2 or 3 times, is more or less where the extent of its territory is. Actually, no, you need a few more times than that. But once you're within the leopard territory, you more or less know who it is. But that will hold mostly for the females, and then it takes time to get to know who the male is that covers most of those females' territories, and then it takes even longer to learn the males that are on the fringes of that male territory, because each male territory will hold different male territories within his territory. That's the first step, is identifying the fact that you have different individuals, and it does help to know a little bit about their tracks. The more you see their tracks, the more you see individual maybe characteristics about their tracks, so that when you are maybe on one of their boundaries and you're likely to see one female's tracks on one road and then another female's tracks on another road nearby, you might be able to differentiate and recognize it as a boundary. A lot of that takes time, but when it comes to actually watching them, and this is one of the reasons why I still don't know these leopards here at Thornybush, because we just haven't had the opportunity to see them that often, is one gets to be familiar with spot patterns, and you can't obviously remember an entire leopard spot. A whole leopard's worth of spots would take a photographic memory, and something I don't have. I can't even remember to ask the question 5 seconds ago. No, I can't. But the spot patterns anywhere on the body are individual to that leopard, so it doesn't matter whether you take the spot pattern around the eye, or the spot pattern on the forehead, or maybe on the shoulder, or maybe the spot pattern and the markings of a leopard that comes over the rump from the tail. Any one of those things can be used as a marker. And obviously sometimes we take the spot patterns from different parts of the leopard, because we don't always get to see its face. And so sometimes we want to just, when we just get to see the back end of it, we get to see maybe just the spots on the tail, or the amount of white on the tail, or the marking at the base of the tail. Can't call it spots because there's a very specific and very gorgeous marking at the base of the tail on the leopard. But we do concentrate a lot on the facial markings, the spot patterns on the face, particularly about the eye, as well as the spot pattern around the forehead. There's another very particular thing that doesn't have anything to do with spots, although it is leopard. It's a very distinctive bib pattern that they have. And on the chest of any leopard, you'll see there's a very dark marking, and it's what we call the bib, BRB. And that bib is very, very distinct, like a fingerprint. Each leopard has a different one. So there is a particular spot on a leopard that is going to kill, and they eventually at some point look up, if not at us, but at least in the distance. So at some point in time you'll get to see just the eye pattern, just that little, just within a square inch from the corner of the eye. Anyway, the 2 square inches of the forehead on a leopard, everywhere on a leopard there's a particular thing that is a feature of that leopard. I mean, we've had leopards where there's just one particular spot on the shoulder that's shaped like a heart, and on the left shoulder, and every time we saw him, we knew who he was. Just that heart-shaped spot just stood out at us. So it's a wonderful thing learning new leopards, but it's another thing, we've got to find them to be able to learn who they are, and so that's what we're on now. We're on the trail of a leopard, and we're going to hopefully see if we can find him. Time to continue. The clouds seem to have mostly moved away. Wind is dropping and turning into a beautiful day and a beautiful evening. Sorry. Back on the road, and we'll need to turn around again, I think. Or maybe we'll just carry on straight down here. Think of it. Might even be walking up this road. Catch up with the drive radio. So we're looking for lion and we're looking for leopard. But that's what we're always looking for. An elephant. Lion and leopard elephant. Three main characters, the 3 hardest to find. Sugar. We forgot to buy liquid fruit. Lucky's not answering the radio. My question exactly, where is it? Wait. Becky. I've just got to turn you down a bit because when was that in North Zealand? I'm picking up 6 here. Okay. Becky, your sound is up. On the radio, I mean. What they're talking about. What is that sound? Twiga. It's probably a spot animal. See that animal. Even though we talk about something else. Okay, so we're ready. Still can't find any leopard tracks. Is that Twiga? Yeah. Okay. Hello everybody. Oh, you're not even using those. Yeah. Go ahead, Becky. Hello everybody. We're confusing you today. We're forming stuff. Sky's cleared nicely. Still got a wind, and there still seems to be a cold front hanging out over there. That's still going to hit us tonight. And I still can't find leopard tracks. And guys are still tracking the leopard and the lion, but there are no leopard tracks here. Go ahead, Becky. Oh, cool. Oops. Take 2. Take 3. India. Take 4. That's actually a very good question from Raji in India. Nice to have a viewer in India. There's so many similarities between similarities. between Africa and India. Of course, they were joined once upon a time, so there are common species, lion and leopard in India too. But about this young male leopard, who I'm hoping to find tracks of. I mean, he came down the boundary and he came east, rather west again. Why is he still hanging around? This is from Raja in India. Why is he still hanging around when his mother, Malawan female, when she's got 2 new cubs already? And it's not something that has been observed very often. It's something that we've certainly seen before. We've seen it with our Queen of Juma, Karula, down in the Sabi Sand, where she had male cubs that hung around with the new litter. And I think part of it is healthy population of leopard, and not really many places for these young males to go. They need to expand their horizons bit by bit and venture out into different territories, but they always come back to the safety of their mother's territory, and they must let them hang around. Well, we can only speculate why. I mean, who knows what goes on in the mind of a mother leopard? Sorry, let me just emphasize on the mother leopard, mother anything for that matter. But he's obviously been trying to test the waters away from her territory, away from her and her new cubs. We've often seen his tracks on his own. In fact, that's what I'm looking for right now, because he has come this way. We might even bump into his tracks again soon. I'm hoping to bump into him. But he's venturing away from her, or he has been probably since his brothers were born. But venturing away from her, but also venturing out of her territory. And he's obviously coming up with neighboring territories, and they're pushing him back here. We're on the southeastern tip, in much the same way as the Juma. We were on the northeastern edge of the Sabi Sand, and there was nowhere really for them to go north, a little bit into Manyaleti to the northeast. But a very similar circumstance where there seems to be a bit of a bottleneck of leopard, and there's nowhere really for these little boys to go. He can't go south. He has been through the fence. We know that. He's been caught on camera on a neighboring property on one of those camera traps. So he's venturing out into neighboring properties. He's even caught warthogs there. And the biggest problem with that is that is right on the edge of rural areas, and right outside those neighboring properties is rural Africa with goats and cattle and children that have to walk miles a day to and from school, between areas of bushveld that could very well conceal a leopard. So there's something in him that's keeping him within the reserve. I think there's something within a lot of leopard knowing that they're pushing their luck if they go into the human areas. Otherwise we would have a lot more incidents out there. Perhaps even more so than, or rather not as much so as you might find in India. In India, leopards are actually venturing into villages and causing havoc, and have been for many, many years. But he's obviously not found a place that's safe enough for him to go and set up his own territory, and so he's coming back to Mom's territory. It would seem that he's making his own kills, but he's also taking kills from her, and it would also seem that she's been killing for him, or killing and allowing him to take the carcass, so that she can disappear with her new cubs and actually leave him on that carcass, and then from there hope that he's going to go his own way. And he's like this yo-yo. He's like any teenager. He keeps bouncing back. Sorry, Ma, dropped out of college. Couldn't make it as a leopard. I've come back to be one of your cubs. And then off he goes again. And sorry, Ma, dropped out of my first job. Need a place to stay. Been there, I've done it. Hard for a young male to make it in this world today. So we're watching this process, and he's still a little bit too young to challenge any dominant male for that territory. And it's very much like this young male. I mean, they're on a par, these two boys. The unique thing about this whole territory that we're in is they've got this young male lion that has reached this age where he's got to move out, and we've got a young male leopard who's reached this age where he's got to move out, and the two of them have to find their way in their own societies. This young male lion getting bounced around by other males and other lions, and he's got to find a territory. This young male leopard, same thing. So it's an exciting time to actually be here and to maybe be able to watch their development. I don't know if I hope we're going to have that opportunity. The thing about male lion and leopard is that they move away. So there's a very good chance we might not even see them again one day. because they'll find their way into another reserve. Both of them have the opportunity of getting out into places like the Thornybush, eventually getting into Kruger if they had to, although Kruger's quite a way away. There's nowhere for them to go south. There are a few places to go to the west. In fact, there's a huge line project to the west, the White Line project. That would really mess up their gene pool if one of these big males got in there. They're trying to breed white line. Imagine if a tawny male got into one of their enclosures. So it's only north, and north they've got to go through very big male territory here in Thornybush. The only option is to run the gauntlet and go east through Sandringham and then eventually into the Thornybush. The only option. That's why they're still hanging around, probably longer than other males do. If this was open, if there were no fences, if this was all open to the rest of Kruger, they would have more options. They would be able to go west, south. Those aren't options for them right now. How good is your track? Are you going to get out? Can you see them? Yeah. Is leopard. It is him even, that young male. But it's rather old. And a soft sand, so it's not very interesting. But old dung, probably sprayed marked his territory here too. It doesn't stop him from spraying and letting his mother know that he's maturing and letting others know that he is maturing. That's leopard dung and old tracks from the same little boy from the last time he came around this way. But he didn't come up this way. What about live? Now I'm ready. Yes, because now we neglected some of the live. We were doing the recorded live. Rachel in New Jersey asked about the average lifespan of a buffalo. I don't know, I haven't the faintest idea. Around 35, I think, around there. It depends. Of course, it depends. It depends on the population of lion and how many prides of lion are catching buffalo and where you are in Africa. No, I think buffalo range about 30, 35 maybe, the most, maybe a bit older on them. But Maybe somebody can Google it and get it. I've never watched buffalo for that many years to know the same buffalo over time, so it's one of those things I have to believe what's written in the books or on Google or Wikipedia or whatever. So I've moved around so much in my life, I've never watched one animal, so I have to be honest with you, unless an animal has been watched its entire life, which is the case with a lot of the cats in the Sabi Sand and here in the Timbavati and here at Thornybush and a number of the animals here at Thornybush, over the time that people have been doing safaris, people have been keeping records. Because when you're at a particular game reserve, some of the animals that seem to be that have been important are watched all year, every year of their lives. So, to a large extent, there are things like leopard and lion that have been watched their entire lives and photographed their entire lives. We know how old they become. But nobody ever really takes the time or is able to photograph or keep track of one individual buffalo or one, unless it's in an artificial circumstance like a zoo, a safari park, or a breeding program or something like that. Maybe there are people that have lived with the same individual animal for long enough to know exactly how long they live, and that from tooth records they're able to put it within a few years. But personally, I've moved around Africa so much, I haven't even stayed in one place long enough to follow the life of one cat. So I can only go by what the same information that you can find on Google or Wikipedia or in a mammal book. I can look in my mammal book now, and according to Jonathan King, that he'll say X number of years, and I bet you I'll find something in his book and I'll say nonsense. That's not what I've experienced, but maybe something. It's not I'm saying Jonathan Kingdon is wrong. What I'm saying is that he has his records to show, and Jonathan Kingdon is one of the foremost people in zoology, especially in East Africa. But also, East Africa buffalo might not live, or might live longer, or might not live as long. I know the buffalo in Ruaha very seldom get to old age because they've got to run a gauntlet of lion their entire lives. So I'm not really big on the age thing, other than knowing the difference between a youngster and teenager, an adult and an old person, an old one, in terms of recognizing whether something has been through time or whether an individual has still got a lot of time to age. Especially here at Thornybush. I'm here for 2.5 months, I think, nearly 3 months. By the time I'm finished at the end of this month. So far I've only been here for a month and a half or so. And I'm starting to recognize individuals. There's some individuals that I recognize, but it's not always easy. Especially not knowing how old they are. So I've had chats with some of the guides, and I get information from people like Juan Pinto from Royal Malawan, who has been here for 20 years. He's actually followed individual animals, leopards, lions. He's followed them from the time that they're born until the time that they disappear. So he's able to say with certainty about the age of certain individuals. I'd have to ask him what his opinion is, whether he's watched any particular buffalo, but also he's only been here 20 years. Buffalo live longer than 20 years. Yes, Becky, what is your question? Beautiful sky out there. If we could just find it. MJ! Accepted to the what? Hello MJ. Should I say aloha? Aloha. In Hawaii. MJ, I haven't heard from you for a long time. What are you doing? Oh, rebuffed means rejected thing. MJ is asking, if a strange elephant were to arrive on the scene, would he or she be accepted or rebuffed? It would be very unusual if it was a female. And that is where the difference may lie. A bull, it's not a matter of acceptance or rebuttal, rebuttal is in court, or rejected. With bulls, it's a question of they just coming around. They don't play a part in the female herd, matriarchal herd. They just visit, and a new elephant bull coming in will probably be seen by a matriarch as a potential new suitor to either herself or her daughters and their daughters. A new cow, on the other hand, I think that might be a different story. Very unlikely that if an elephant cow would arrive out of the blue, that there would be an elephant cow without a family, because she would have to be an orphan. It would be a really strange circumstance. Not that it's not, that it wouldn't happen. The way us humans are killing elephants throughout Africa, I'm sure there are many orphans and elephants that have fled, and maybe their family been killed. Can't think of anything worse. And there's no answer to that question, because yes, MJ, maybe there's a family group that would take her in, and there's some family group that would reject her. You've got to remember, you've got to take into account the intelligence and the emotional depth of elephants. In fact, you might even find on one day a particular matriarch would reject a lone female coming in, and on another day she might accept her. It depends on her mood. So it's one of those, it's not a question that can be answered. It's a depends. It's a big depends on so many factors. And the chief among them is the fact that it's behavioral and character driven answer, that you have to look into the minds of an elephant to be able to answer that question. We can't do that, because each individual is different. Every single individual elephant, like us. Some of us are compassionate, some of us aren't. There might be an elephant there that's not compassionate, and there might be one that is. And one day she might be accepting, and on another day she might be in a really foul mood, being hassled by some idiot guide or tourist in the Kruger, and she's just in a bad mood. And along comes this young female, dripping tears because she's lost her family, and the old matriarch says, well, sorry, I've got my own problem, I'll find another one. Could happen. Another day she might change her mind. Sometimes you might find a female that will do that, and it's very rare. Might just hang out on the fringes and slowly but surely be accepted by them. I think there's any number of possibilities to an answer like that, or rather to an answer to a question like that. There isn't a strict rule of behavior when it comes to emotion and choice and mood. There's just so many things. And elephants are not only like that. I mean, every animal has their own mind, their own way of thinking. There's this broad scale of the things that are governed by instinct and things that are driven by capacity for learning. And the bigger the organism, the more the brain requires a capacity for learning, because there's no test for instinctive behavior. They have to think and calculate and sum up every possible scenario that they come across in life, like this young male giraffe who's wandering around on his lonesome. Well, we don't know if he's on his lonesome. Might be another 20 in the area. He's just reached adulthood. But his brain had to suddenly calculate what he's going to do now, because a human being in a vehicle has just arrived on the scene. The smaller the creature, the more, not creature, organism, because we're going into unicellular organisms now. Unicellular organisms don't have a brain. Everything is instinct. It's not instinctive. It's stimulus driven. Hello, young man. You can see a difference. So much of a difference in him as opposed to that old man that we saw earlier. Let's see if we can get this side of him a little bit. It's a giraffe day for us today. There are a few branches in the way. Not much we can do about it. Make no mistake, he's not a small animal. He's not as big as that old bull we saw earlier, but he's still an adult bull. Probably has been for some time. Okay, did I finish with the other one? I guess I'm finished with the other question. From MJ. If not MJ, let me know. Always elaborate. Yes, Nicky, go ahead. Next question. Norm from 10. Buffalo. Norm in 10. 10, by the way, Becky, is Tennessee. Makes it a really good whiskey. Even if there might be some dry states. Fine. The drier the state, the better the whiskey. Norm, the largest herd of animals I've seen lately is probably about 200 buffalo recently. We watched them cross the road and we were counting and boy, did they take their time. 1, 2, 4, 6, yeah, anyway, took their time, but we figured there must have been about 200 buffalo there. That's Lacey. About the biggest herd I think they might get to be, when some of these herds of buffalo join up here in Thornybush, the biggest herd you're going to see is excuse me, maybe 200-300, maybe 400 buffalo. Elephant, the biggest herd we've seen, the biggest group of ellies we've seen up till now has been about 22, I think, 18 to 22, depending on how many bulls are with them. But generally it's like a herd of 17, and then there are different numbers of bulls that are socializing with the herd at the time, at any one time. Funny thing. There's an acacia with a buffalo thorn growing out the top of it. It's like very, very Dr. Seussish. And then you know what you can do actually? Zoom out and just pan to this beautiful western sky. Africa's colors for July the 4th sunset. Pretty sky. Sadly we're a little bit low to see the sunset. Yeah, go. That's rather an interesting question from Roger. Roger that. Roger's asking if two venomous snakes are fighting and one bites the other, will the one die from the venom of the other? And you know what my answer is going to be? Oh, you haven't been here long enough. It depends. Actually, I think in this case probably it doesn't depend. I was going to say it depends on which snake is biting which, because there are some snakes, there are some venomous snakes in fact, that prey on other even venomous snakes, and their venom has to work on those snakes, otherwise they wouldn't become prey. So yes, their venom does work on other snakes. But then I was thinking that if that Roger's asking about two snakes fighting, and well, the only reason why I get two different species of snakes fighting is if one snake is trying to eat the other, in which case the other one becomes prey for that one, and the fight is because the one is defending itself against being eaten by that one. And that might be confusing, but on the other hand, the question implies it's two snakes of the same species, and my immediate answer would be yes, because I've known of an adder biting itself and dying because its own venom got into its bloodstream. But my answer would also say that maybe there's an exception to the rule, and maybe there's a snake out there that is pervious, or rather immune, not impervious, immune to the venom of certain venom. So I wouldn't be able to answer that on an individual snake basis, but generally speaking, I'd say yes, that if two venomous snakes were having a go at each other, and one got bitten by the other, I'd say that yes, it would be affected by the venom. The gaboon adder, or gaboon viper of Africa, it's sort of a bastardization of Gabon, because I think they were first found in Gabon, but the Gabon or gaboon viper, most colourful of all adders and vipers, really incredible snake. It's probably on record as having the longest fangs of any venomous snake on our planet. And one of the record venom, scratch all that. Getting the stenographer in a tiz. The record fang, or the longest fangs on record, there we go, found my way around that statement. The record fangs are about 2 inches long on a gaboon viper. And there's this one individual that is believed, I don't know how true it is, it's believed to have punctured its own bottom jaw and died of its own venom. Maybe you can Google it and find out if I'm wrong, but somehow my memory banks just dug that out of nowhere, as sometimes like a couple of words suddenly dig out these song names to me that Vivian was quite amazed about. Strange how memories work. Can't remember where I put my keys, but something just flashes in my memory from something triggers a flash. But I'd say most snakes succumb to the venom of most venomous snakes. What are those boys doing up there? That's where I wanted to go. Looks like trekking. Paparazzo time. Time to get out of the vehicle and our game rangers. Photograph taken. So, it's been an interesting afternoon from a point of view of chatting, answering questions. Down. There's a huge cold front coming again. Another one's going to hit us tonight. Just had this one pass over, and now there's another one about to come through. Oh, and another vehicle. Everybody's out here looking for lions today, probably. We gave up on the leopard, we're now coming back, but there's one vehicle ahead of us, and another one up on the cut line. See the flashes of photographs going, looking through my binoculars, having Finland. Okay, alright, I'm just going to pass another vehicle, so just give me a minute. Nice to hear from Raisa in Finland. Another one of the birders in our crew who likes birding. Hello. Fine and you? Good, thanks. Hi everyone. Good. Thanks. You too. Bye. Yes, I'm ready. While I'm going through the dip, you can ask me the question. I'll answer it when we come out the other side. How's signal look? Okay, signal pretty good. Hello, Raisa. I thought it might have been a bird question, because Raisa's a bird expert. And sorry, my mind just went off the subject a minute. But Raisa asking if that was a flufftail that I saw, white-winged flufftail. I haven't the foggiest. Raisa, could have been a buff-spotted flufftail. Could have been a Franklin for all I knew. I had this image of a flufftail. It wasn't even a second. When I say it was a split second, this bird, it gave me the impression of a flufftail because of the way it dived in the grasses, and it seemed sort of a buffy red, rusty color that wasn't. I might get caught there. Good enough. Unfortunately, I can't identify it, Ray, so there's no way of knowing what it was. Like there goes the Franklin, one of the first I've seen. Managed to see its feet. A lot of what's this? Not Franklin now. A lot of birds down here. And in eastern North Carolina are there large termite mounds in Thornybush, and do the large cats use them as vantage points? Yes, and yes. Yes, there are large termite mounds, and yes, the cats do use them. I posted a photograph today on Thornybush Private Nature Reserve Facebook page. I hear a plane at this time of night. And this is all visual flight rating. There's no instruments here. You better be landing soon. But yes, got a picture of that young leopard using the termite mound as a vantage point the other day, and I posted today on the Thornybush Private Nature Reserve page. And cheetah guaranteed use termite mounds. Lion, I suppose, to a lesser degree. They like to lie on them, not both as vantage points, but just as sort of king of the hill type thing. That's what lion would do. They just like doing that. So yes, very much so. Anywhere in Africa, in fact, doesn't matter where you are in Africa, you can be guaranteed that lion, leopard, and cheetah will use termite mounds, very large termite mounds, as vantage points. Take that to the bank. And this cold front's already here. Gee. We were looking at it, it was down on the horizon a few minutes ago, and look, it's still private lodge or whatever. But as it gets dark, I say goodbye, and I think even this might be the edge of my thing, because I've got to cross the river now. So I'm hoping we've got a signal here. Should do. Well, we're gonna